Hi everyone, so a little further along, a friend of mine was kind enough to lend me his Dremel, and so I've been trying to cut the bolt there. It's only just above the washer. Unfortunately I need to go a little deeper to cut the rest of it off, and I've been using getting it from the side and then using a cold chisel to take off the bits in there when it's too tight for the Dremel. Alright, let's continue, see how we go. So yeah, still struggling with about half a mil or a millimeter layer above the washer, and I've broken a few discs and they just can't really cut into this. It's such a tight spot, and I can't take this out because I can't get metal filings inside of the engine. So yeah, fun times. So I decided to take the bolt out, stuffed in some paper towel in there, and now I should be able to get a perpendicular cut to that bolt there. Let's see how we go. There, you can sort of see the washer layer, peeling it back. Gonna chip this off and then maybe one more turn. Alright, wish me luck. Alright, we have victory, guys. The last piece just finally fell off, which was the washer section, and the pulley has just come loose. So yay! And now we are left with just this stud here. So yeah, I'm gonna spray some penetrant in there, let it soak for a little bit, and come back to it. So yeah, this one here, and I'm gonna leave this in there to stop any dust or anything from getting inside. Alright, so I'll spray some penetrant in there, and yeah, I don't know, gave it about 10 seconds, got the vice grips just to give it a quick test, maybe wiggle it back and forth, and well, it's practically just finger tight in there. So yeah, all the stress inside was just from the force of the head being pulled in by the threads. So that's why all it was. Yeah. So yeah, no rust at all. Just, unfortunately, one bolt that was just stuck. So now it's time to take this off and then try and get everything else off, maybe with the puller if need be. Alright, so what I've done is I've put a tiny little mark on top of the pin there, and another one here. Probably not coming up so well because of the light on, but it's there. Just there and there, so that way I don't put it in 180 degrees in the wrong direction. So now I should be able to pull this off. Seems to be a bit loose, so I might be able to pull it off as is. Anyways, let's see how we go. Alright, so now that we've got that off, we're up to the balancer where I'll need this pulley here with the bolts come through, and yeah, I'll put that bolt back in to be the point where I press against to bring it out. But yeah, this this socket here is what I put in, so that way I can undo everything without the crank turning, which was very handy. Yeah, I'm not sure what else I can say at the moment, but yeah, look at all this crap grease and everything. Might give a bit of a wash before I take this off, I don't know. Anyways, enjoy people, bye. Alright, so I've given it a bit of a clean, and yeah, it's time to pull out the balancer. First thing is you got to remove this, get that out of the way. If you end up using this method, I suggest using a thick-walled, what is it? This one is a 16mm impact one, deep socket. Yeah, it's just about the perfect size to fit in there. So yeah. Anyway, so it came up pretty nice. I haven't wiped it all down yet, but it was just to get rid of all the real bad stuff and then do a finer job after. Alright, time for the puller to come out. Alright, so my harmonic balancer thing, got to pull it out. Had to take this out because it has its washers that go over there, so it fights against itself. So this should fit nicely in that. See how it's got that little edge at an angle, which should sit nicely on the edge here, and it did so when I gave it a quick test, just like that. So we should be good. just going to see how we go, get these two bolts at an equal level, and then give it a start. It's a 19mm and two 13mm. I wanted to try the three-way. The one with use the two outer, and then that one have 3 bolts pulling, but unfortunately the bolts I have, the threads don't match for it in the balancer. Anyway, so yeah, let's get this started. So I got things tensioned up, 19mm there on a ratchet. It's sitting nicely in there. When this starts to pull out, I'm thinking these 2 pins that are 180 degrees apart. So there's another one on the underside, which is there, and one there. I've made a mark on the outside and on the inner side, so that way I know which way the balancer goes and it won't be 180 degrees out. So, and I've put the paper towel here just in case those 2 little pins decide to fall, so they'll get caught here instead of landing on the ground, maybe getting dented or bouncing away somewhere. Alright, here we go. Alright, so it's coming out, as you can tell. It's been pulling forward quite a bit, and yeah, so I put the bolts in a little too far. So when anyone else does this in the future, you only need to thread the bolts in about 1 centimeter past where it's the flush point. About 1 centimeter only needs to go in, just so you don't mark anything behind it or damage anything. May not matter, but won't find out until I get it off. Alright, so we're ready to put the new seal in. See this spring here that goes all the way around? So what happens is when the crank is spinning around, it applies force in different spots and it goes round and round in circles. And without this spring, the seal itself would deform much quicker over time. So this spring helps it keep it in place, but unfortunately, if I pop this in just as it is, 50-50 chance that this spring pops off. So what I'm going to do is coat it in some CV joint grease, so it's a little bit on the heavier side. I wanted high temp ball bearing grease, but unfortunately it's gone walkabout. I don't know what happened to it, so I'm going to use this one. And for the outside, see, it's got some notches in the side, as you can see here, but for added bonus I'm going to put this stuff in. Ultra black gasket, yeah, best against oil. It is what's been working for the valve cover, as my valve cover gasket was faulty, and yeah, I was many hundreds of k's away from a dealership on a day when none of them are open. So yeah, just did what I had to, and it's been working ever since. So we're up to about 3 months or something now since I put that on, and not a hint of a leak, so we're going to use that again. Alright, so grease on the spring, grease on the inside as well to help it go into its spot down there, and then the nice thin layer of the gasket material on the outside. Alright, let's see how we go. Alright, so here we have it prepared. Around the outside we have the gasket sealer, maximum oil protection. You want a bead of it on the top half here, so when you press it in, the bead conforms over to what it needs to towards the front flange. And yeah, around the whole side you want some heavy grease on the spring and on the inside as well. Cheers. Alright, so you can see me putting it in, and it's evened up a lot now. So the left side is being pushed in that little bit that it needs. And you see where the it's kind of squishing around the edges with the sealant. Alright. So the way this works is you get it in place, and then you come back in 1 hour, and then you give it the final twist. so that way the sealant seals properly as per the instructions. Alright, so now what we're going to do is, it's set, still kind of tacky, you know, tightened it to its final position, and now it's yeah, going to wait 24 hours before we touch it again, so that way the sealant dries perfectly and we can reassemble.